Yeah, okay. So we'll start with the meeting now. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Yeah. So as you can see, in this session, this will be majorly focusing on the Logistic coBot theme. So what we'll do during the first initial 15 to 20 minutes of this meeting is we'll quickly go through the learning resources and the portal to get you guys familiar with what you are supposed to do and how you are supposed to do, and we'll walk through all the steps necessary, and then we'll have an open room for any questions and queries that you guys are facing during installation or other things. Okay, so starting with that, when you go on to the portal.eyantra.org website, there you will be greeted with this page. Now you have to click on the login and then you will be able to log in it. So the login brings you to this page where on the left hand side you can see a menu, a sidebar. In this sidebar you will see different options present here. Now for now we can go to task 0, since this will be a session majorly focusing on task 0, and then you can to visit the theme book, that is the instruction that you have to follow to complete the given task. You can click on the visit theme book link here. So here in the theme book we have all the necessary documentation. You will get all the details regarding what you are supposed to do, what is the expected output of the task, and how to achieve it. So all the learning resources regarding the task, that is whatever necessary tech stack, technologies or terminology that you must be familiar with, will provide you the link and resources for that here. On the left hand side is the sidebar where you can go navigate through different tasks present here. Right now, as you might know, we have two tasks, that is task 0 and task 1. So for now we'll be focusing on task 0. So in task 0 it will be majorly based on installation and setting up your workspace. So this theme is entirely focused around ROS, that is robot operating system, and we'll be using the newer version of the ROS, that is ROS 2, and there is a sub version as well called as Humble. So we'll be using ROS 2 Humble during this theme. Now robot operating system is, like you must be familiar from the introduction section, is something that is used to integrate complex mechanisms and complex things together to implement some kind of real world solutions. So similarly we will be achieving that in this theme. For that we will be using Ubuntu 22.04 and ROS 2 Humble. So yeah, so we'll have a doubt clearing session at the end. So yes, so why we are using so installing the Ubuntu 22.04 on your native system is very important. Like you should not use any virtual machines or other VNC softwares to do that, because we'll be working with pretty complicated tech stacks and pretty demanding softwares, and those softwares and packages have been thoroughly tested on Ubuntu 22.04, and they won't give you the appropriate performance or the adequate performance in virtual environments. To avoid any issues going ahead, it is recommended that you install Ubuntu on your PC. You can dual boot Ubuntu with your Windows or Mac or whatever operating system that you are comfortable with, and you will need to basically use Ubuntu natively on your laptop, PC or whatever system that you are going to be working with. Now to install Ubuntu, you can click on the installation guide. Now in the installation guide, it will redirect you to this page, which is basically the official page from Canonical, which is a company that maintains Ubuntu, and it is a pretty straightforward process where from the sidebar you can navigate and install the Ubuntu. They also tell you how to dual boot and all other things. So this is a very important and crucial step. Please do not install it on a virtual machine, as you will be facing issues which are facing weird issues going ahead. Coming down to ROS 2 Humble. Now as some of you might be aware, the ROS 2 Humble is one of the latest releases. It is still going on. There is one more newer version called as Jazzy's Aliso, which we will not be using in this theme. You are supposed to use ROS 2 Humble only. If you click on the installation guide, you will be redirected to the second page. Here the ROS 2 Humble and Gazebo, it is a ROS 2 Humble and Gazebo installation guide. So Gazebo, as you might have read through the instructions, is basically a simulation software which allows us to create different kinds of worlds and things in which we can simulate the task that we are supposed to do. So throughout this theme, the structure of this theme is around solving industrial problems and developing sustainable solutions for them. So what we'll be doing is, since it is very difficult to work with industrial robots directly and we cannot do trial and errors with them, we'll first try out our solutions on the simulation environment using Gazebo. So we have set up a simulation environment which we will provide it to you guys, and using this environment you can simulate the task and you can write programs for the robot to complete the given task in a way that has been recommended. Yeah. So in the installation instructions, first you have to enable UTF-8. So it is basically a encoding format. Going ahead, you have to set up the sources. So you have to get set up some repositories, which is so that your Ubuntu is able to run ROS. It should be able to find the directory in the repository. So the Ubuntu Universe repository is used for that. So you need to enable that. That is, install the Ubuntu Universe repository and then add some GPG keys. So you don't need to understand any of these words for now. If you want to, if you are interested to, you can dig deep and read into it. The more you read into it, the more you know, and the better it will be for debugging. But you can just copy paste all of this from right clicking here and then pasting it in your terminal directly. Going into so this is all the first the step number 2, that is set up sources, is basically so that your Ubuntu knows where to find the ROS packages. So in the step number 2, we are just basically telling them to the specific location on the internet where they can find the relevant packages for the ROS to Humble that we are going to install. Now update and upgrade, you just run update and upgrade command so that your system is up to date and you don't install any deprecated or outgoing packages. And then finally you click on ROS to Humble desktop. So by running this command, you will be installing ROS to Humble, the Humble version of ROS, and it is recommended that you use desktop, not the development one, because ROS to desktop is a stable version which will be supported for a long period of time. That is also called as LTS version, that is long term support. And it is recommended that you use this because in development environments there will be some errors and problems that you might face. To install the Gazebo, just right click here and execute this command. So you can execute all of these commands one by one. And finally, an important step, that is source. Basically after your installation is complete, you need to source. So what does sourcing means is something that you can find out on your own, and it will be a common term that we will be using throughout the ROS theme, and it is something a term commonly used in ROS and embedded Linux development basically. So here what we need to do is it needs to find a setup.bash file. So what we want our computer to do is, every time you open a terminal window, we want it to execute this command, so that we don't have to manually enter it every time. What we will do is we'll add it to bash RC. So bash RC is basically a file in which whatever commands or instructions that you put will be executed every time your new terminal window or a new terminal tab is open. So using the first command, we'll just enable the ROS to Humble and tell our computer which package or whatever operating systems that whatever operations that we want to do. So after doing this, your computer will be able to recognize the ROS commands basically. So ROS to launch, ROS to topic list, and all these commands that involve the word ROS to and are specific to the ROS development or ROS software, your computer will be only able to. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. So your computer will be able to find the ROS2 commands or ROS related commands only when you execute this command here. So that's why we want this command to be executed again every time you open a new terminal window. To do that, we'll include it in the bash RC, and it can be done using this command. So basically you need to go and copy paste all of this step by step. Do not copy paste it at a time, just go step by step, copy everything, read the instructions given so you get a better idea of what you are doing and how you are doing it. And finally, to check the installation, you can try running this command. So this is basically a very basic implementation of ROS nodes, where we have a talker and a listener. So if you want to read more into it, you can go to the ROS2 documentation, which you can find here. ROS2 humble docs. If you just Google here, then you will be able to see the ROS2 documentation. Here the installation and all other guides are provided. Most of the errors that you face, you can find the solution to them here, as well as there is a discussion forum related to ROS2 available online as well, apart from the discussion forum that we are using right now. Okay, so yeah, that's about the instructions. Now for the task 0 submission, just go through the problems, just go through the instructions, and finally for the submission, you will need to install this eYRC auto eval package. The eYRC auto eval package is a package that you will be using throughout the theme. This is a package that will be used to evaluate your task completion and your performance relative to other teams. So going ahead, you need to install this package and make yourself familiar with its usage. Again, similarly, we added the path for the eYRC auto eval package to the bash RC. And finally, you will see something like this on the black window once you execute this given command. Okay, so installation is this task was basically to set up everything so you are get familiar with the ROS environment and how you are supposed to be going ahead. So that's why the only reason behind evaluating this task is to verify yourself that your system is working properly and is within the given constraints recommended by us. So other than that, please use the recommended systems that we have recommended, and try avoiding virtual softwares, as they might give you error going ahead, as we will be working with complicated packages like MoveIt, then RViz and nav2, etc. Yeah. So if you want to learn more, there are these learning resources to ROS provided on the left hand side. In the sidebar you can see here. So you can go through the Linux learning resources, ROS2 workspace, package, etc. And anything, if you find any thing that you don't understand, you can always look it up on Google or ask your peers. And the final part of task 0, that is the bonus task, is basically there are two sections. One is the turtle sim, where you are supposed to use a Python script or C++ script to draw this shape, and this won't be evaluated, so you don't need to do any submission for it, but doing that will definitely help you be better prepared for task 1. And finally, what you will do is you will be cloning the eYRC Logistic coBot repository. So if you go here, eYRC Logistic coBots is a public repository that you will be where we will be pushing all the changes and packages that you will be using throughout this theme. There are multiple releases here. Make sure that you are checking out to the appropriate release for your task. So please follow the instructions carefully and keep an eye on which tag that you are using. As each task will have a different tag, you need to make sure that you have checked out to the appropriate tag based on the documentation. Yes. Finally, you need a last important detail. Every time you make changes to your workspace, that is the source folder, anytime you make change in any sort of program, any sort of file, or any sort of package, then you need to build and install the setup.bash again, source the setup.bash again. Unless you build and source the workspace, you won't be able to, the changes that you have made won't be reflected back. So this is the most common error that you will face and which you need to keep in mind. So
sir, repeat. Sir, did you understand?
We'll have session for we'll open up for questions again. So basically, if we go step by step here, so basically what we are doing is we created a folder called as Qualcomm workspace, where we are going to use git clone, which is we are telling the computer to basically download the contents from this website into the folder, and then we are checking it out to a particular tag. That is, there will be multiple releases. So which version of this repository that we wanted to check out to is we mention in the tag. So if you see here, version 1.0.1 is something that we will be using for task 0. So that's why we will be using the command git checkout task v1.0.1. Now you have since you have checked out to the appropriate version, you can go to the src folder, run the requirement.sh. This file is a bash script, which means a Linux terminal script which will execute commands that will install the necessary packages. This is an important step, do not skip it. And finally, once you have installed everything necessary, then you do colcon build inside the colcon workspace, not inside the src folder. You should not compile, that is, you should not do execute the colcon build command inside the src build install or any other folder. You need to do it inside the root folder, that is the colcon_workspace, the folder in which you will be keeping all your data. Okay, so once you do colcon build, so this is a very crucial step. Any changes that you do to the code will only be executed, will only reflect unless you follow this step. So you need to do colcon build for your changes to be seen on the gazebo world or simulation environment or real robots. Okay, and then finally source install setup.bash. So these two steps is something that you will be doing again and again. So make sure that every time you make some changes, you check the colcon build and source install setup.bash. Okay, finally you should be able to see something like this, and using the teleop you should be able to navigate the robot around. Okay, so what is teleop and everything, I'll let you guys explore as we have said here. So we'll open the session for questions now. If you guys have any questions, any problems that you have been facing, we can discuss that right now. Okay, anyone with the questions, you can just raise your hand and start. Yes.
So good afternoon, sir. I'm new to this.
Sorry, sir, you are not audible.
So, sir, we are new to the Linux commands and
Yeah.
and whole Linux OS. So
Okay.
if we just this basic information is enough. Like we even didn't install it by knowing ourselves. We just copy pasted the link
Yes.
or command.
Mm-hmm.
Will that be enough?
Yes, that is enough. But if you want to learn more, so basically, since you guys all are enthusiasts in robotics, robotics generally works in Linux. So most of the people use Ubuntu based or Linux based softwares, and it is an important skill to have going ahead into the industry. So it would be good that if you take your build yourself up. But for the theme, you can just copy paste everything and just worry about your Python scripts and logic, and that you should be fine. But if you want to learn more, in the learning resources, there are Linux resources provided as well, which will get you familiar with the basic working commands and all the things related to Linux. So these instructions here in the learning resources should be more than enough to get you up to date. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone else with a doubt, you can just raise your hand and start with the question.
Hi.
Yes.
So we have a competition in the downloading sources and ROS too, sir.
Yeah, sorry, Jeffy, your voice is very low. Can you come closer to the mic?
Sir, we have a complication downloading Ubuntu and Raspberry.
Okay, you have complication downloading what?
Ubuntu source and ROS 2 sources.
Okay, so what is the issue?
There are many application requests to download, sir, not supporting our laptops.
Okay, what is your system specification?
They request some barcodes to download it, and it not we download it, it not accept our laptop, sir.
Yes. Can you tell me the specifications of your laptop?
Sir, it is in a Windows model HP laptop.
Okay, so we have mentioned some recommended specifications. So even if you go on the Ubuntu's website, there will give you a minimum specification that is required. So please cross check if the laptop that you are trying to install the Ubuntu on is supported by the version of the Ubuntu that we are installing. Okay, so and by specifications of the laptop, we mean the processor that you have or the graphic card that your laptop is connected to, or the SSD or the HDD that you are using, and things like that. So if you mention that, it would be easier for us to get an idea of which particular resource that you are lacking in, or what can be a issue that you might be facing. You can share that. If you can share it now, we can discuss it right now. If you want to take a look at it again, you can mention it in the discuss forum as well.
Sir,
Yes.
one doubt.
Yes.
There is marks for every task, right?
Yes.
Do it add up and make the selection important, like passing in the stage 1?
Yes. So for the stage 1, all of your cumulative marks from task 1 and task 2 will be considered.
Not
So-
task 0.
Yes, task 0 is fine because task 0 will also be considered the quiz part, but the major weightage lies in the task 1 and task 2.
Okay.
So even if you don't, even if you do perform badly in task 0, it does not mean that you won't be able to get selected for stage 2. It depends on your performance in task 1 and task 2 primarily.
Task 1 is creating a warehouse, right? A virtual warehouse.
No, so for task 0, the virtual warehouse we have provided you with. What you will be doing in task 1A is basically navigating the warehouse autonomously using your eBot, that is the mobile robot that we have provided. And in task 1B and 1C, you will be using the eYRC robotic arm, that is Universal Files robotic arm, to basically pick and drop some package.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Omkar, yes.
Sir, does that submission in time is mandatory? So, if I do the before a deadline, then the ranking will appear that submission, or it is not like that?
Okay, so the submission before deadline is important, but if for particular task if you submit late, then you will have penalty. So some points will be deducted from your total, that is the maximum mark that you achieve for submitting it late. So if you to achieve competitive score, to enhance your chances of getting shortlisted for stage 2, you need to submit it before the deadline. Also, there is some concession provided where you can submit late, but at the cost of some points. Some penalty points will be deducted there.
Sir, if we submit in time only, but late, like
Sorry, I am not able to hear you properly. Can you come closer to your mic or speak louder?
hello.
Yes.
Okay, we have completed task in before time only,
Okay.
but that submission in early basis, like in 2 to 3 days, if I have done, then it appears my leaderboard.
No. Before the deadline, it does not matter if you have submitted 1 day before or 10 days before. It won't affect the rankings.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question that for each theme, will the resource provided will be enough, or we have to go through the entire course, some kind of course, like for balancing builder board, do we have to go through the entire control systems, or will the resource provided will be enough?
Okay, for BuilderBot, I can't comment in detail. You will have to ask during the Q&A session of that. But overall, the learning resources are meant to introduce you to the subject. And the overall theme of the competition is oriented towards teaching you, making you basically aware of whatever stack that you will be working with. So for in this theme, it will be ROS. For BuilderBot, it will be control systems. So you don't need to do an course or separate any Udemy course or some MOOC to get prepared for the thing, but you will have to do some of your own research. So the learning resources will be your starting point where you get introduced to the subject, and based on this, then you can Google your based on your interest and based on the problems that you face, then you can explore around in the Google or maybe some documentations, etc.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Sir, how long will the meeting last?
This meeting will be like 5 to 10 minutes more. This is just a question answer session going on.
Last.
So I am having issues in that quiz of
Okay.
task 0.
Yeah. What's the issue?
There are two options which are exactly same. So which option should I choose? That's
Okay,
the
so
problem.
that would be giving an answer directly. Please carefully read all the options provided so that you get a better idea of the question.
So,
Sir, there is no typing mistake in the quiz, right?
No.
So is there an email where we can?
So there
just,
might be a typing mistake in the options that have been provided, and those are intentional mistakes, and those are not blunders basically. So you need to figure out which is a typo and which is the appropriate command in some scenarios.
So I was talking about that command thing. There
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
command similar to it.
Yes, so
But in
there,
that
if you are
question
provided
is
with
different.
multiple options for a particular command, you need to figure out which is the most syntactically correct command in the given options and select that one.
We have to try it first then. Okay.
Yeah, someone else was speaking as well.
Hello,
Yes,
am I audible?
yes, yes,
Hello, sir.
yes. Hello.
I wanted to ask that like you denied using virtual machines, so can we do it on Docker or some cloud?
You can do it on Docker or some cloud, but the problem is with the visualization. If you do it on a cloud-based service, then you won't be able to visualize the gazebo and RVs and things like that. But the major problem with that is it has not been tested and verified by us as well as the sources available or the developers. So the packages that you will be using, because in this theme is majorly focused on ROS and its implementation, we will be using multiple packages which includes nav2, RVs, MoveIt and all other things with UR5, Robotica and mobile robots. So there are multiple things that are working together. So if you are working on some environment which it has not been tested on, then you might face some issues going ahead, which might be a disadvantage to you guys. So and to
So it's not a problem during that JSON file generation or submission, right? It won't be any. It
Yeah.
won't be
Yes, so
deducting
for,
marks or.
so if you do a virtual machine or something like that, then the JSON then the evaluator will detect it. For the Docker also I think it will detect it, but if it even if you pass the task 0 is not somewhere you will have issues. You will face the issues going down the line when you are working with task 1, task 2. So the task will be progressively getting more complicated, and the more complicated tasks are, the more amount of packages and resources it will be using. And then at that point, then you will start having issues. And if you are using some system that we are not using or we are not able to replicate on, then we won't be able to help you, or we won't be even able to recreate the issue. So that is the entire idea, to use a system that
Alright,
has been
thank you.
tested before.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So basically, I followed all the instructions given in the slide, and I tried to download Ubuntu.
Okay.
But when I tried to flash it, I couldn't. The installation process is not complete. It just stuck, and it stopped the process.
Okay, so by flash you mean you basically want to dual boot, or you want to install it on your some system, and so you need to go into basically go into the set BIOS and then change the boot priority and all that things. I am assuming you have done that.
No, sir, I didn't do such things, but I guess Flash it didn't work properly according to my system. Should I say my system configurations or something like that?
Can you repeat the last part?
Should I say my system specifications? Because I tried the exact procedure was what was given on the website. But I
Okay.
didn't get it.
So what is the issue? You are not able to see the Ubuntu logo, you are not able to start the setup procedure, or where it is getting stuck?
Sir, I downloaded the Ubuntu image, but after that it's getting stuck. It's not processing after that.
Okay, so I'll just brief you about the steps that you need to do. So I cannot comment on it directly right now unless and until I see the error message or which step you are stuck on. So you can maybe use the discuss forum to share photographs or some documents regarding in which step you are stuck in. So the basic step is you basically download the Ubuntu ISO file. You flash it on your bootable file asset on a USB using a tool using a tool like Rufus or any bootloader, any basically flash creator.
I did it. Sorry to interrupt, but I used an USB. I did that when I gave flash, it was processing, but then all of a sudden it asked for the pen drive to format, and we couldn't format actually.
Okay, so your pen drive is not getting formatted. So just try using a different pen drive or format it using some system. That's a simple issue. You can just format it and or use a second different pen drive, and you will be able to create a bootable USB, and that you can use to install Ubuntu on any PC.
Okay, so if I do the same procedure again, it will work, right, sir?
Yes. You need to format the USB and then burn the ISO file on the USB. Then it creates a bootable file which you can use to install Ubuntu.
Okay, so every time if I want to use the OS, should I insert the USB or something like that?
No. Once it is a one-time thing, unless you are using USB persistent, which is not recommended. So if you one time create a USB, then you connect it to your PC, and then you install Ubuntu. Once the setup process for installing Ubuntu is done, you are done. You don't need a USB anymore. You can reformat the USB and use it for something else. It's up to you. You only need the USB once.
Okay.
Sir, one of my teammates is using as a persistence. Is it a problem?
Yeah, it does not. So it performs badly basically. So going ahead, you will face more issues. You are likely to face more issues. So maybe it would be working fine right now, but as the complexity of the task increases, when you deal with multiple packages, then the resources required will be large, and then at that time you can't guarantee the system will perform exactly the way it is intended to.
So I wanted to ask what exactly the eYRC auto eval does. Like, what is the function?
Okay, so for each task it is a different. So basically what the eYRC auto eval does is it will take a log of whatever you are running in the background or whichever task that you are performing. For example, for task 1, it will take a look at all the topics and everything that is being published, and it will make a collection for it and send it to a cloud where it will be evaluated. So all the eYRC auto eval does is it checks all the background packages for any malpractices and all the data that is being published, and basically it will evaluate and it will send it for evaluation.
Sir, I have some doubts.
Yeah, can you repeat?
Yeah, sir, I have few doubts actually.
Your voice is very small, very weak. Can you speak louder or come closer to the mic?
Hello, I'm sorry.
Hello. Yeah, I am not able to hear you.
Can we switch to the Hindi language? Actually, we are very much comfortable with the Hindi language. So can we switch to the Hindi language? Because I have few doubts.
Yeah, I can't hear you clearly. That is a issue. But as far as I heard, you can Hindi or any other language that you are comfortable with is fine.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Sir, actually, वहाँ पे जो टास्क 0 है ना, टास्क 0 अपलोड करने का है, तो वहाँ पे चूज फाइल जो करेंगे, चूज हम फाइल आगे बनाएंगे तभी उसमें डाल सकते हैं, है ना? वो जो टास्क बनाएंगे उसमें क्या क्या होना चाहिए? मतलब वहाँ पे लिखा है कि once your task is ready, please upload it on mention deadline, मतलब जो भी डेडलाइन से पहले हम टास्क में क्या क्या लिखना है उस पर वो.
Okay, so for task 0, I still can't hear you clearly, but I'll जितना सुनाई दे उसके basis पे. For task 0, you need to basically install everything properly. That is Ubuntu, ROS, Gazebo, and all the mentioned packages. वो install करने के बाद you need to run the eYRC auto eval script. वो script run करने के बाद you will get a you will get a .json file as an output. Now you need to upload this .json file onto the portal as your submission. So this file that will be generated by the eYRC auto eval package, that is the command that is given here. Okay.
वो दिखा सकते हैं वो कहाँ पे है eYRC script जो है?
Okay, yes. So if you take a look here, you need to upload the task. See, so here I can click on browse, and I just need to select a file जो JSON file create होगी .json extension वाली. I select the file and I upload the task. That is it. You need to select the theme upload select the appropriate file. Right now मैं text file दे रहा हूँ, इधर .json file select करनी है. You click on select and upload task. That's it. And then the second thing is you will be able to take the quiz and you need to fill this quiz.
इस टास्क 0 के अंदर में मतलब कोई फोल्डर होगा ना वर्ड फाइल का, या फिर क्या होगा उसमें?
Yeah, your voice is very low. I can't understand what you are saying. See, if I am unable to answer the question right now, you can ask a detailed question on the discuss forum as well. Yeah, so since we are nearing the end of the meeting, an instruction for everyone ki you should join the discuss forum and you can use it to ask any questions, any problems that you are facing, and just make sure that the question that you will be asking will be more will provide some technical details, like maybe the screenshot of the windows, which particular step that you are stuck on, or basically anything like error logs or something like that. We cannot deduct the error based on one single screenshot or one single error log. You need to provide the description regarding at what step you are stuck and what step is causing the problem, and also check the previous questions as well. So there might be some person who has had similar issue and someone, maybe one of your peers or one of the theme developers has answered it previously. So do check the previous questions as well. If you have any questions, you can always ask it on a discuss forum and one of us will answer it within 24 hours.
So I had a question.
Okay.
What is the criteria for the evaluation on the leaderboard? So like our group we submitted, but then we got good marks, but then after that we saw when we checked in a few days the ranking went down.
Okay, so for task 0, as everyone will be having the same marks, most of the people will have the same marks going ahead. But so it doesn't really matter for task 0 and that won't be a criteria for selection.